right, welcome everybody, freaks and geeks, to another episode of Barzinga.
Here we go.
That's right. I'm Chris Roan.
I'm Baltimore Lauren.
Hen.
And we've got an amazing star-studded cast tonight. We have my guest, Eric Ninaltowski, with us.
What's up, guys?
And my guest, my good friend, Ken Meyer Jr.
I don't know you.
That's what most people say.
Rich told us that you guys were like long lost, like adopted brothers. Like you found him on the street one day as a puppy in a basket. You felt sorry.
Yeah, he was in really sad shape, and it hasn't really changed, has it?
My wife says the same thing every day. Every time we go out, I don't know this guy.
Yeah, no kidding.
So this is a very spontaneous episode of Barzinga. This being a special day, it is May the 4th, also known as May the 4th Be With You, also known as Star Wars
Trek
Day.
Oh, I mean Star Wars. That's right. Sorry.
Easy killer. Easy.
Sorry.
We can
Sorry,
have you
Bill.
replaced.
Sorry, Bill Shatner. Sorry. That's right. May the 4th be with you today. We're celebrating another wonderful shopping day. It's an early Black Monday for Star Wars geeks like some people that might be on right now. I know it took a lot of my money today, so like it always does every year. How about you guys? Any shopping today for May the 4th? Ken, no. Eric,
No,
it was like, no.
Not me.
Wow, I'm that big of a nerd. Got it. Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate that. I feel really
I know
special.
you haven't gotten any sketch covers from me yet, though. So
Well,
let's
sign
Let's
this
work on
deal
that.
today, Ken. Let's do it today for everybody. I ask Eric, man. I'm a man of my word. We'll pin something together right now. Get this going.
Yep.
well, Hen, I gave Hen a bunch of images she can show you later, and a couple of those are sketch covers that I've done.
I got
People.
those. Those look amazing. And I'll
Thank
definitely put them in here. The magic of technology. I'll snap my fingers and make them all appear.
Bam.
And then make them all show up for all the wonderful audience. So as we get going here, real quick, let's just want to say welcome to our two guests. Thank you for joining us on this amazing Star Wars celebration. And it feels like almost like Life Day, but an early Life Day for some of us nerds. So let's maybe, Rich, why don't you talk about Ken first, and then Ken will go through and tell some fun stories about Star Wars, how you guys got together, and we'll kick over to Eric as well. And at the same time, let's do some drink on though too.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, why don't we do that first? Let's get our drink.
Okay, let's do it.
Lauren, let's start with you. BL,
All
what do you
right.
got
Let's go,
tonight?
Baltimore Lauren. What you got?
So today I'm drinking Cherry Blossom from Oliver Brewing Company. This is a cherry wheat ale. I picked this up from Atomic Books in Baltimore. They are doing curbside alcohol pickup. Inexpensive alcohol from Baltimore. I really, really recommend Atomic Books. What about you, Rich? What are you drinking?
Let's go, Rich. What you got?
I've got, this is my last can. I've been saving this for a special occasion. This is a special occasion. This is no longer made. It's from one of my favorite breweries here in Maryland, Columbia, Maryland. The brewery is called Black Flag. The beer is Nerf Herder. And you can see the awesome Star Wars logo, Nerf Herder. This was a unique blend, a hazy IPA they manufactured about a year ago. The great thing about Black Flag, if you ever have the opportunity to go into the brewery itself, they hired somebody to paint a mural on the back wall. It's the scene of Han, Ben, and Luke and Chewie in the cantina. And they're all four sitting around the table, and all four of them are drinking something from Black Flag.
They should have had Henry Rollins sitting at the table too. I don't know how they missed that opportunity.
I don't know, but I've been looking forward to drinking this. My last can. Thank you very much, Black Flag. Cheers! Happy Star Wars Day. Roan, what do you got?
Well,
I'm mixing something crazy.
That's right. I'm mixing up. My girlfriend turned me on. She's like, "Hey, for the Star Wars thing, May the 4th podcast, why don't you do a special drink from some Galaxy's Edge and Disneyland's closed?" So this is the actual menu that you get, but I'm making what's called Yub Nub, and it's going to be, and it's basically Malibu pineapple rum, Sailor Jerry spice rum, citrus juices, passion fruit, served in a souvenir indoor limited edition Return of the Jedi mug, which that's what this is. So I picked this up. It's got the Death Star. It's got some of the famous scenes from Endor. The Ewoks there, kind of fighting it out. the ATST. So yeah, so this is a little yub nub.
I saw that menu. Some of those drinks look really good. There was one cocktail on there though that really reminded me more of a melon ball. A lot of the ingredients look more like a melon ball.
There's one on here, and it's called the Fuzzy Tauntaun. This guy, and if you notice, there's some fuzziness on top here, and I didn't realize what it was when we ordered it. I took a big gulp of it. It's a type of flour that's a numbing flour, like almost like Novocaine, and it completely numbed the entire inside of my throat, my mouth, my lips for a solid like 5 minutes. Like it was numb. I was like, am I having an allergic reaction? The lady's like, no.
You sure that fuzzy stuff isn't the mold that's been sitting around the edges of the glass, perhaps?
Yeah, no, I was seriously worried there for a second. I was like, but nope. So, all right, Ken, what are you drinking?
Well, I borrowed this Star Wars mug from my son-in-law, who's a super, super duper Star Wars super geek. And it's got this really exotic concoction called caffeine-free Dr. Pepper. I don't know if you've heard of it, but that's my drink of choice right now because I don't really drink alcohol. So.
No worries, nothing wrong with that.
But I'm feeling a buzz.
Yeah?
Yeah, that sugar buzz, yeah.
Eric, what do you got in your glass?
All right, man. So I had to scrape the bottom of the barrel. I found a Pacifico in my fridge, and I got it in my Star Wars engraved mug. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The best I could do. So cheers, guys.
Cheers.
I had to get a new one. My girls actually broke my last one. Chris, I don't know if you can see this, but I had tonight.
Yep.
I got the Alec Guinness beer mug. I had to buy a fresh one off of eBay because the last one got a little damaged. So Lauren's coming with my family and I. We've got a scheduled trip to Galaxy's Edge in exactly 1 year. Yep. We're all going.
Now, Ken and Eric, have you guys been to Galaxy's Edge yet, or Disneyland, Disney World since they opened it?
I live close to Disneyland, but I've never been a huge Disneyland fan, only because I can't stand the lines. I mean, I've been there like anyone, live nearby.
Yeah.
But my daughter has a membership, so they go all the time. So they probably have been on whatever the hell you're talking about, but not me.
Eric's got 4 little kids now, so I bet you're on pause for a while, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've been to Disneyland a bunch of times. We typically go for like kids' birthdays and stuff, but haven't been there since they opened the new Star Wars land or Galaxy's Edge. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. The best I've gotten is Star Tours. That's a cool ride. But yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
They did turn Space Mountain into like a cool Star Wars ride for a little bit there, but we did ride that one.
Oh yeah.
Hyperspace Mountain.
Hyperspace, yeah. The Disney parks do overlays every so often. So for Hyperspace Mountain, it's just a different light setup as well as a different soundtrack to make you feel like you're in the Star Wars universe.
Okay.
Now, Ken and Eric, you guys definitely go check out at least at a minimum Galaxy's Edge is 2. They're not even rides; they're experiences, is what they call them. The Falcon experience, and then the Rise of the Resistance. That one is 18 minutes long, and it's every possible experience that you could have in a theme ride. They've put it all into one, and the immersion of it, you can't even describe it. You just have to go watch the videos on YouTube and watch people do it.
That might be worth it because half of my complaint is that the rides that you wait 3 hours for last about 2 minutes. So
yeah.
This one they did a good job. Basically, get you at the very early morning at 8 a.m. The minute you step physically into the park, you basically say, "I want to join a boarding group," and then it automatically assigns you a random number, and then you don't have to wait in line. Really, it texts you and says, "Hey, your boarding group's now boarding," just like a train or an airplane, right? And
the downside is though, you have to get. I don't know if you had this problem, Chris, but a lot of Disney vloggers that I follow had to get to the park, whichever respective park they go to.
5 a.m.
4 or 5 a.m.
Yep.
And you're not actually guaranteed a boarding group, even
That's
if you
true.
aren't physically in the park. So I think I mean, obviously everything kind of shut down right now, but I'm hoping by the time we get back to the parks being open and all of us getting to enjoy them again, maybe it'll be a little better. But if you've ever used the in-park Wi-Fi in the Disney parks, it's kind of a crapshoot already if it's good or not. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the one disclaimer, Ken, to Lauren's point, and Eric, you definitely got to be there at 4 or 5 a.m. waiting in line to get into the park, because it's crazy. The minute like the park opens, everyone floods the entrance and just waits there with their phone, and they're just constantly doing this: pull down, pull down, pull down, pull down, pull down, waiting for the boarding group option to come up, and then you hit I want to join, and then once you're in, you hear these crowds of people cheering and screaming that they got in, and then with it by 8:04 a.m., poof, everybody just fans out and goes out and does their business. It's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, but worth at least going once. Like I said, they did an amazing job with all the animatronics, the robotics, the graphics, the details. It makes you legitimately feel like you're part of the experience.
Now, you had said, Chris, one of your favorite parts of Galaxy's Edge was the lightsaber school, right?
Oh yeah, where you'll build your own custom lightsaber. Oh
yeah,
that brought to. I mean, Eric. I mean, kids. When your kids get old enough, man, absolutely take your kids through that experience. It's awesome. I mean, it brought a tear to my eye. I'm waiting the third time to take my 11-year-old now that he's old enough to really, I think, appreciate it. If I'm gonna drop $200 on a lightsaber,
sure.
Like, so you got some time, Eric, to save up. So.
Yeah, we did the plastic ones that you assemble after Star Tours.
Yeah. Yep.
We have a few of those, but haven't seen the real ones yet.
All right, so Ken and I, we have a kind of a long history. I think I first met Ken, oh my goodness, almost quite 20 years ago. But again, this goes back to the time when I was self-publishing in the late 80s, early aughts. I had discovered Ken's work online. I forget what news group I'd fallen into, but I'm a big fan of Drew Struzan, for example, and Ken's work reminded me a lot of that type of, so I started following him as an artist, just as I enjoyed his work. Shortly after that, I started doing a book called Zoomies. It was an autobiographical comic about my life growing up with the mental patients that my parents took care of in the 70s in upstate New York. And I got in touch with Ken and commissioned Ken to paint the covers to my books. And as a matter of fact, and Ken and I were just talking about this evening, his daughter, who was, how old do you think Riley was at the time? 7?
Probably like
5?
10.
10.
I think 10 is the other one that's so young, but she was probably around 10.
So I had a very distinct image in my mind's eye of how I wanted the logo for Zoomies to look. And I wanted it to look like a child's handwriting, specifically with a crayon. And I was unable to find the exact font that I liked. And I finally just gave up. And I think it was Ken that came up with the idea. So let me give my 7-year-old a crayon and have her write, the Zoomies a couple times and see how that looks. And
I think I actually probably have that in one of my sketchbooks in the garage. I think I remember seeing it when I looked for other stuff.
Probably hold on to that. It's going to be worth a lot of money someday. So Ken's daughter, when she was very young, designed the logo to Zoomies, and Ken painted the covers to all the books. And we try to hook up and get together for dinner once a year when we go to San Diego Comic-Con. And like I said, I've been a genuine fan, and he's a buddy. And Ken's done some Star Wars related pieces over the years, of which you'll see some images as we progress. Ken, go ahead and tell us a little bit about some of your body of work.
Well, I mean, I've been drawing since I was a kid. I basically learned from comics. I started initially by using carbon paper, tracing, and then looking at the book and drawing from it, et cetera, et cetera. And in the 70s, I would try and get artwork published in fanzines and stuff, which I did. And then I think probably the first work I ever got paid for as far as comics go, probably was the hamsters, the adolescent radioactive black belt hamster stuff for Eclipse Comics. I mean, before that, I'd done some of my own stuff, and stories would appear in some independent books and stuff like Caliber Comics and things like that. But actually, I think probably the Eclipse stuff was first. And one of those covers Well, I did a couple covers for this miniseries called Clint Hamster Triumphant, and he was one of the hamsters. One of them was a parody cover of Frank Miller Dark Knight. One was a parody cover of the Apocalypse Now poster. Because
Wait a minute, let me stop you right there. You did that cover, the Apocalypse Now homage.
Yeah, for the hamsters one.
I love that cover.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've known you all these years, and I never knew you did those
Really?
covers. That's fantastic. Yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah,
I
because
love
by
the
that
hamsters,
time,
and I love the Clint series.
Yeah, by that time, I'd gotten into other stuff like maybe independent comics by that time, but also mainstream illustration, like Drew Struzan, for example, who you mentioned, and a lot of other people. And now I'm forgetting his name, Bob Peake, who did the poster for the original Apocalypse Now poster. So I just got this idea to do this parody, and I went whole hog because in addition to parodying the image, I copied the font of the title. I copied where the credits were, and I made up all these credits and stuff to put at the bottom for the printed version, the cover of that. And then later, after Eclipse was done with it, Don Chin, who wrote those things, had his own company called Parody Press, where he did a lot of parodies of things. And so he reprinted some of the hamster stuff. And I think that's where the Star Wars parody came into play. I think that's when I did that for Don. And it was a parody of the first Hildebrandt brothers poster for Star Wars.
The original Star Wars poster that the Hildebrandts did in Chris, right? Wasn't that the first poster A?
Yep, and I got it actually hanging in my living room, signed by George Lucas, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher. All I need is Hildebrand on it. So
there's one Hildebrand left. You better get moving.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yep.
I think is it Tim? No, Greg. Greg's the one.
Greg is the one
Greg's still alive.
Around.
Yeah. Ken, I saw too that you start off doing. I was just reading some of the stuff about you online that I could find before we joined. Bruce Lee, huh? Got into that was like your first illustration, huh?
Oh man,
that's pretty...
I was a huge Bruce Lee fan. I mean, this is back around the same time as Star Wars, really, mid '70s.
Yeah.
And I was in high school still. I lived on base in this base in Utah. I had two friends. One was at Taekwondo, and one was into Kung Fu. I mean, actually practicing it. And we all hung out together, and we're really into Bruce Lee. And so the very first piece of art I ever had published was a Bruce Lee drawing that I'd done. And then I was corresponding with Brent Anderson, comic book artist, before he was professional. And then as he became a professional, and he told me he could get it published, just don't go apeshit, but I can get this published if you let me ink it. And which I was obviously really happy to do. So it was published in a convention book in like 1970, I don't know, 8 or 9 or something like that. But a funny offshoot of that was the script writer, Sterling Silliphant, I think that's how you say his last name, was working on, I think it was him, he was working on a movie called The Silent Flute that Bruce was originally going to try and be in, which ironically David Carradine ended up starring in. But he was shopping this script around, and I don't remember how I ended up talking to him, but he had me do black and white inked drawing of Carradine as that character that he had on this script that he was shopping around. I don't know whatever happened to the script or if it helped or who knows, but
yeah,
that was kind of interesting.
That's pretty cool. I just saw one of your images too that you did. The Princess Leia is like a vampire. Looks like it took out all the stormtroopers. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was just a commission for someone. They wanted a painting of Princess Leia, and they said, "Well, just do it in another genre other than science fiction."
Yeah.
So I was just seeing her as a vampire, but really it looks, and it works better. It just looks like she beat the crap out of all the stormtroopers, and she just had like one tiny little bloody bit on her mouth or something.
Yeah. No, your rendition of Prince Leigh in the slave outfit, that's really, really top quality. I mean, I'll post it here and show it for the folks to see it, but that's really good work, man. That's
I think that's one of those sketch covers, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just a blank.
No?
It just shows just a blank canvas. Looks like, yeah.
Blank.
Well,
Yeah,
I have a
Ken-
feeling it might be one of the ones where I got rid of the logo so I could, show it as just the art. But I think it was a sketch cover.
I gotcha.
If I remember right.
Yeah, even your carded Luke Skywalker back is I mean, that's a really good top quality as well. It looks
Is that
just
like you mean like with the bubble where the toy would be or something?
Yep. With
Yeah.
him on Tatooine looking out over the horizon. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy who's commissioned me to do a bunch of sketch covers, and he had 2 of those things done, or maybe 3, because one of them was like Luke. I did a painting of the Luke toy, not even Luke the actor, but just the toy.
Well, thanks, Rich, for bringing Ken to suck away more of my money. So just find my wallet now and just throw it at you.
No, Ken's work. I own. I think I own about 6 pieces of Ken's art. Granted, stuff I've commissioned him to do, but they're all professionally framed, hanging in my office. And I know I'll have Ken do more stuff. Ken, you typically, I mean, right now you typically get a lot of commissions, right, from fans and stuff that are giving you specific requests of different characters they want to do.
Yeah, I get a fair amount. I mean, obviously I have to because that's all I do for a living. So,
Right.
I mean, I assume Eric's the same way. You're just trying to get work all the time so that you can keep doing what you like to do. And it's kind of funny because this period right now, I'm usually going to these Magic the Gathering tournaments, like one a month, where I sell stuff and sign cards and stuff. But obviously that's not happening. And so I was a little worried that times were going to be really tight. But I don't know why, I've actually been probably busier over the last month than usual, doing a bunch of commissions, usually Magic-related stuff, artwork on cards and stuff.
Well, that's great. I mean, those are good problems to have, especially right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I'm lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird phenomenon though. Like you mentioned, bring up about how we're all social distancing, we can't do anything, we're all locked down, but yet business seems to be good for some people.
I know, right?
Like, yeah.
No kidding. People are spending money. I don't know if they're spending the stimulus check.
Yeah,
or
it's
they're
weird.
just like,
I just thought that was strange because I figured a lot of people probably can't work, so they don't have a lot of money. But it must be the people that are, obviously in better shape and have money to burn that are getting a hold of me.
Hey, Ken, there was one piece I wanted to ask you about earlier, and we'll put this image up. The image you sent me, we're looking at, it's Luke Skywalker and the Death Star is focused around it.
Great picture, by the way.
Tell us about that particular commission. I mean, it's a beautiful piece, but tell me about, the inspiration behind that particular design.
Well, the rest of you guys, and maybe Eric, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to Eric in passing, but I've said to Rich and anyone that knows me, my memory is really, really terrible. I've noticed it more lately.
Yeah,
get in line.
A member of your choir, my preacher.
Yeah.
Member of your choir.
Lauren's known me for about 10 years, and she'll tell you, no, more than 10 years, I think. I don't know, but
It's been a long time, and you're so lucky that you have me.
I know. I know.
She's like your mental bookkeeper.
She has to keep. She has to keep me on point.
And Rich is true about that too, because I've told him about this book series I think 19 times now.
And today's the 20th time.
And today was the 20th time. He texted me, "Hey Chris, what's the name of that book series I should listen to?"
Because today's the day I'm getting it. I finally got Audible. But
right.
I'm sorry,
Ken.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. The reason I said that is because I don't know if I can remember why I did it. I think I just did it on my own because I wanted to do a Luke painting. I don't think it was a commission, but I don't have it anymore, so I must have sold it. So I've since used that and some of this other art for other things. Just don't tell Warner Brothers or whoever owns it. But that painting, that painting was done, probably way back in I would assume mid 90s, maybe the late 90s, if that. I've done a lot of Star Wars stuff that I didn't remember.
What's probably your most challenging or biggest or just most difficult Star Wars item or commission you've ever done? That that's taking you the longest period of time, or maybe the most challenging?
Well, doing likeness-based stuff, has somewhat of a challenge to begin with, but I've done enough of it that it's not super hard. So maybe the Phantom Menace one, it might have been physically bigger than some of the other ones, because most of them that I've done are not that big. They might be like 9 by 12 or 12 by 17 or whatever. I think that one might have been probably like 14 by 18 or something like that. And there are various characters,
Your Qui-Gon Jinn, I'm looking at right now, and I'll bring it up here for everybody. The Qui-Gon Jinn likeness is just absolutely spot on. I mean, with the Darth Maul in the background.
If I don't get the likeness right, then as far as I'm concerned, I've failed. So, and then like most artists, I'm hardest on myself, because I can see the things I did wrong, or I can see the little things that should be a little bit better, where someone else, they have that image of those characters in their head already. So they're going to recognize them pretty easily, as opposed to a painting you might have done by just some Joe off the street. So they bring that with them, and they're going to recognize them relatively easier. So it's not that hard to say, okay, this is a painting of Luke Skywalker. But I can see things sometimes that aren't that well done.
Well, with that, who's your favorite Star Wars character to draw, and then who's your favorite Star Wars character just in general, and then what's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Well, like I told Rich, I saw the first three that were made, when they were in the theaters. So, and then you might see a black and white inked drawing that I did in 1977. Back when the movie came out.
Yep. I got it.
I don't know. I can't remember why I did it. Probably just because I really liked the movie. But I think I actually remember. What's the Attack of the Clone? General Grievous? Is that sort of like? Mm-hmm. He's pretty cool looking. But Darth Maul is always fun. Because he's probably the most, I think, dramatic looking character that I can think of. Off the top of my head. So he's probably the most fun to do. Favorite character, probably most people's favorite character is Solo. And actually another illustration I sent, an idea from someone was to have Indiana Jones and Han Solo in the same piece. Indiana Jones comes upon Solo still in the carbonite. So maybe, probably him. Probably,
conceptually, that's a great idea.
Yeah, that was someone else's idea, but it was a really cool idea.
Yeah, I bring that one up now. That one, this thing is awesome. This drawing is absolutely, the idea is top quality. I didn't even think about that. I mean, the crossover with Randy and Han and Carbonite. That's absolutely genius. Fantastic. So what's your favorite movie?
I can't claim all my ideas, definitely, because a lot of people that commission stuff, they come in with an idea, and I like them to, because I want them to be happy with the results. Mm-hmm. To be honest, the hardest things to do is when someone comes to me and says, "Oh, just do what you want," because they might get a poster of Phyllis Diller. I'd rather them be happy with what they get.
Well, so what's your favorite Star Wars movie then?
Well, it'd definitely be one of the first three. They have the most meaning for me. Mm-hmm. It's part nostalgia, part I don't know. When nostalgia comes into play, a lot of things that you might at another time in your life think are dumb or whatever, you don't think that, because it has all that other stuff attached to it. So it'd definitely be one of the first three, and it'd probably be the very first one that was made.
So I want to ask you, Ken, before, and I want to get only before his battery on his phone dies. You got to experience Star Wars in '77, first run, when it was in the theater, when it just blew up. And we've seen the images, we've seen the lines around the theater, how it was constantly sold out, playing around the clock. I want to ask you, looking back in your memory, 1977, your first experience, what was that like?
What was it like? Well, I came to the theater on a huge Harley, and I had my girlfriend was on the back, and she had a total Leah outfit that was just, I mean, it was just spot on. The slave outfit, you know. And so people really liked her. She got a lot of attention. And we got a real like hero's welcome. We came to, there was a huge line. We got in front of the whole line. They ushered us in. We got front row seats. And really, none of that really happened because I can't remember really any details except that I remember.
I was going to say, wait a minute. How'd you know she had a slave outfit on in 1977?
I think we've been there. I think we've been Barzinga'd.
We've been Barzinga'd. Yep,
we've been Barzinga'd.
I know why Rich likes you now, Ken. I get it.
Well, I mean, I remember seeing at the time, like news reports about all the lines and stuff, but I really can't remember if there was a huge line where I saw it. In 77, I probably would have been in Utah still, because we lived on base for a while and then we lived off base for a while. So I have a feeling because it was Utah, there probably wasn't a huge, you know, line or anything. But I mean, obviously I like the movie because I did that illustration, you know, that same year and done tons since.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Sorry to disappoint you. I wish I had a really good memory for you.
That's all right. That's all right.
No, you got us. That was good. That was good. I'm sure half the audience too will be like, oh, geez. Because I was visualizing it, man. I'm a very visual person. So I'm sitting there like in my mind going, okay, my parents rode Harleys. I could see this. I go, okay, the slave outfit. I was like, okay, yeah, okay.
Well, in my head, I'm thinking, well, Ken's got 10 years on me. I'm thinking, all right, so he would have been, 22.
Yeah, I guess I would have been around 20 at that time.
Yeah, around 20. Hey, sure, you bet, Harley. Why not?
Yeah, Eric, Lauren, and I were still like an atom in two people's bodies.
You were
still trying to figure it out.
Even, as my dad used to say, son, you weren't even a twinkle in your mother's eye.
That's right. So Ken, why don't you tell everybody, any big projects coming up, anything big you wanted to talk about? I know a lot of convention scenes locked down, so we definitely want to give it a chance to plug your site, how people can get a hold of you, submit commissions.
Yeah, well, most of the stuff that I've been doing for the last little bit has been, little things here and there that add up to the general workload. So a lot of little magic card alterations and similar things. And I mean, people have spent a lot of money on some of this stuff. So I'm really grateful for that. But I don't really have like a huge project that I'm doing. I mean, I do have plans for a really big painting, like a life-size painting of this fantasy subject that I did a real tiny version of a while back, but I don't know when I'm going to get to that. So I'm trying to think of, I can turn the board that I have where all my jobs are written on it, and there isn't anything like massive on it right now. So it's mainly a lot of small commissions here and there.
I see you got Stranger Things one there behind you, which is badass, by the way. Love that. That's really freaking cool.
Yeah, this was done when Stranger Things was really a happening thing. And one of the things that I do is Magic the Gathering play mats, the placemats that they play on. And usually I try and do some sort of pop culture magic mashup kind of thing, which I've done a bunch of. But this was just, I figured, well, I'll do a Stranger Things one. So that's what I wanted to have something behind me other than my closet. So I tried to cover the closet up with this big blanket. And oh, look, there's my low.
Oh no! Yep. Well,
20% left.
Well, let's give it an opportunity for you to plug where people can reach you, social media.
Yourself, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Want to give everybody an opportunity where to find you out there in the interweb the kids are using these days.
I mean, I'm on Facebook. I put probably the most stuff on Facebook just because it's quick and easy. But I have a website that's KenMeyerJr.com. I have a Store Envy page that's easy to get to from that website. And I'm on most things. I'm on Instagram, etc. But I do probably the most updating on Facebook. And I write a monthly column on the comic fanzines of the past called Ink Stains that you can access from my website. So either Facebook or my website is probably the easiest easiest place to find me.
And for those watching that aren't aware, Ken will very often do live feeds of him painting his different commissions and art. So you can see that from front to back, his whole
I've
process.
been doing those a lot lately. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
So KenMeyerJr.com, and then you got your Ken Meyer Facebook page. So we'll make sure we post the links here for everybody to get to it. And
you said you had Instagram also?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, but I don't upload quite as frequently to that. It doesn't really feel to me like the same kind of experience that I get on Facebook. But I do try and upload whatever I do on Facebook to Instagram. It just doesn't happen as often, and I can't get the videos there. So, and another thing, before I forget, another thing I sent along to Rich, if he ends up deciding to show it, is for the longest time I would do my own Christmas cards every year, do illustrations or cartoons or whatever. I don't do it quite as much, but I did one not too long ago with all of our family members as various Star Wars sort of characters, even the two dogs, like one of the dogs is a Chewbacca character. One of the dogs is a little tiny, anyway, and I think I'm the Han Solo character and my son-in-law is a stormtrooper, etc. So you'll see if I sent Rich the image, you'll see it later.
I'll send that to Chris.
That's awesome. Right on.
That's fantastic. Well, Ken, before your phone dies, I just want to say thank you again for joining us. And as Lauren can attest, because she's been in my office many times, if you go into my office, the whole half the back wall is nothing but your framed art. So
I appreciate
thank you so much. Well,
you're welcome.
I love you,
and
buddy.
actually, it's funny because my daughter just came to tell me, "Hey, the food's ready if you want to eat." So
perfect timing. There you go.
Yeah, I feel bad I won't be able to interact with you guys, but my phone's going to crap out anyway, so I don't have much choice.
No worries. Next time though, we're going to ship you this GoPro, and we're not going to have that problem anymore, Ken. So we'll get you on. We'll get you on again, and we'll solve that problem definitely. But yeah, we really appreciate it for joining, Ken. Glad to have you on. Eric, any parting words since you won't be able to talk to Ken for the next half here?
Good to see you again, Ken. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Now you can have the spotlight. It's all yours, and I'll shut up because I won't be here.
Hey, Ken, you stay safe, pal. It was great seeing you.
All right. Nice to meet you other guys. See everybody later.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, Ken.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
I think that's awesome, Eric, that you and Ken actually know each other from the convention, which makes sense, from the convention circuit and the like. So I'm just, you, Eric, you San Diego, right? I guess you do Artist Alley and the like.
Yep. And I think I met Ken first at San Diego. San Diego Comic Fest.
Yeah, and so I'd met Eric, a couple of years ago. It's Phoenix Comic Con. Was I think the first time, right, Eric? That I come across your booth, and he's got a phenomenal presence. And I remember I was doing a Jeremy Bullock signing. Boba Fett, and I saw this. What's over my shoulder right here is one of Eric's renditions of Boba Fett, and I was like, I'm gonna, I want to get that, but I want to get it in a sketch, and that's what I got here. This is what he did, and I was like, oh, dude, if you could get this sketch for me done, and I'll go get Jeremy Bullock to sign it.
Yeah.
And he's like, yep. And he said, just literally just want that on this cover. And you had quite a bit of people come by too that, I think complimented yourself on it, right? As you're working on it.
I think so. It always, when you're sitting there drawing, people walking by, they just kind of like stand there and just like, oh, like,
yeah.
So,
hey, Eric, I got to ask you, as an artist myself, what medium is that you use to do that sketch cover?
So typically I'll use microns for inking, and then I'll color Prismacolor markers.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, even Jeremy, when I had to go get it and sign it, him and his wife both were like, wow, they were really blown away by it. And then I said, oh, well, if you like it so much, guess what? Eric kindly signed and donated a picture for you. So they were very happy for that and surprised. But yeah, this is great. So Eric, why don't you tell everybody, how you got started, where folks can find you as well.
Yes, please. Let's hear about your body of work, pal.
All right, cool. Kind of like Ken, I got started drawing when I was super young in elementary school, basically. Saw some kids drawing at the lunch table. They had some comic books and were just drawing. And so it kind of piqued my interest and so I got into comics that way and just basically kept drawing all the way through high school. my parents and my art teachers were like, yeah, we see some talent there. You should pursue it. And I loved comics. So I was like, if I could do anything, I want to draw comics for a living. So went to art college, got a 2-year degree. And, knowing I wanted to do comics, I found out after the fact that basically I'm from New Jersey. In northern New Jersey is the Kubert School of Cartooning. And I had no idea at the time. And so
like right around the corner.
Wow.
exactly. So
I think that's where every artist wants to go, is the Joe Kubert School.
Yeah, I didn't know about it at the time.
And you lived right there.
Yeah. So I went to Delaware for the 2-year school, and then I made a detour to Boston, where I met my wife, and we actually, for our first date, I took her to see, I think it was episode 3, because I think that's the one that was coming out about that time. So that was our first date, but she still gives me a hard time about it. So after that, I moved to California. I found a small publishing company, like literally right around the corner from us in La Mesa. And that's where I met Mike Miller, who's an artist for DC now. He's done a bunch of Game of Thrones stuff. And so I did an internship with him. He took me under his wing, kind of mentored me. And that's when I landed my first gig doing Hand of the Morning Star, which is like a big, kind of like Manga America, kind of different styles, smaller format. So I did 6 of those books, 6 of the 8. And so that was like almost 1,000 pages worth of work that kind of, launched me into my first publishing stuff. So got to get a lot of the kinks out, like kind of, took me through how to be better, how to get my structure down and things like that. So that was a really good project. And then after that, I did mostly indie work. I've done sketch cards for Marvel and DC for, Upper Deck and Cryptozoic. But I've done a 3-issue miniseries with a company called Awesome Comics, spelled OSSM. And that was Monomyth. It was like a 3-part series. I did that. I did a little Samson thing with a guy just doing like a biblical adaptation. And then most recently, I did the Meg background inks behind Mike S. Miller. He did the Meg adaptation from the novel from Steve Alton. And so I think that brings us pretty much up to speed. And now I'm working on my own series, which, we could talk about more now or later. It's up to you guys.
Oh yeah. That's the Century series, right?
Correct. Yep. The Shadow Century.
Shadow Century. Yeah. Yeah. You just did a Kickstarter thing about that, right? Just,
Correct. Yeah. So it's Indiegogo. It's the other platform, but just finished around a little over 16K. So super happy about that. Couldn't come at a better time with all the conventions not going on right now. So it's definitely going to help me out. And here, I'll show you a pic real quick. This is my team, the Shadow Century. So it's basically
awesome.
That's beautiful.
Like an X-Men meets the Matrix superhero team book with a little like supernatural twist where these characters get their powers from having near-death experiences. And when they come back from the other side, they have these, abilities that let them break the rules that govern our world. And so it's kind of, like a superhero team book. And really excited about it. It's still up in demand on Indiegogo. You could just search Shadow Century. And, unfortunately, I'm not doing commissions right now because of, the book. And I don't want to take away time from that. But if anybody does want to get like a sketch cover, I do have those perks available. So you could totally do that. Character of your choice. And that's an option.
So you're saying I possibly got the last sketch commission by Eric here. Yeah, this is like one of my favorite. I can't wait to get Hamill to sign this. I was like, I sent this to Eric and I said, hey, can you do me like just a Luke Hoth? I just like one of my favorite. Empire is my favorite movie of all time. And I was like, I just love the scene when he cuts the arm off the Wampa Beast, and I'm like, dude, can you just do me something with Luke with the lightsaber? And this is what you sent me. And I just couldn't be happier and more impressed with it. So awesome. Yeah, so I feel pretty lucky then, man, getting one of the last little sketches from Mr. Dr. Eric here.
Right.
So before we dive any deeper into the Shadow Century, which we're definitely going to talk about, so Star Wars themes, May the 4th be with you. So obviously you're wearing great Star Wars shirt, and you got a lot of pieces out there. So maybe same thing that we talked about, Ken. What's some of your best, toughest Star Wars work, favorite character to draw, favorite movie? Just give us the Star Wars dump from Eric.
All right, man. definitely Empire Strikes Back is my favorite. Definitely that Hoth scene
Mhm.
in my mind, as a kid. And gosh, man, the way they did it, it's just so seamless. Nowadays you look back at older movies and, you can tell it's like, it doesn't look like it's in the scene, the little plane flying, but just the Star Wars, the way they did it, man, was so clean, so seamless. And it was just stuck in my head, when he shoots the harpoon or his little grappling hook thing up to the AT-AT and just flies up it. It was just like, yeah, couldn't beat that. So that's definitely my favorite movie. I did like the Endor scenes and stuff from the last one, but yeah. And then as far as drawing goes, I got lucky enough. I did a Ray Park Darth Maul sketch cover.
I'll bring it up for people to see it. I'm looking at it right now. It's really, really impressive, man. And Ray even signed it, looks like.
He did, yeah. So I think that one. So there's a certain guy who got a bunch of sketch covers from me. It might have been at one show, and so I did the artwork, and then he took it to him and he signed it. Some of them, they were signed before I got to do the artwork, which makes it difficult because then I got to work around the signature. Yeah. I think that one he signed after. Yeah. So I mean, unfortunately, I didn't get to meet Ray Park, which would have been awesome, but I did do that one.
Don't worry, I'm sure you'll meet him soon. He's like one of my best pals on social media. Him and I go back and forth all the time. So he's a great dude. So next time you guys are at the same convention, I'll make a note to introduce you guys together for sure.
That'd be awesome, man. Yeah. I did. Let's see. This one is more recent. It's probably not online, but it's a Han Solo commission.
Oh, look at that! That is beautiful.
Wow.
So
what's the medium on that one?
This is, so I did it all pen and ink with the drawing and then colored it digitally. Okay. So he wanted to go, digital for the final product. So because he wanted to get it printed on metal, which always looks cool.
Right, oh yeah. Right. Look at the detail on the Falcon, man. I mean, that's just impressive. And then the Solo, man, geez. Yeah. I'm so envious. I've told you this before when I first met you, man. I'm so envious of artists and your guys' God-given talent, right? To just be complete geniuses of your craft. It just comes so natural. I'm even trying to draw back in the day. I'm like, this is not for me. I can't do it. I'll stick to technology.
You just leaned back for a second. I finally got to see the full shot of your Starry, Starry Night shirt. I like that. Let's get a little bit more of that.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I told Eric before you joined, Reg, Stacy got that for me. I got that exact same shirt upstairs. Wow. I was going to put on that or this latest one from her universe. So, but yeah, that's an impressive shirt, dude.
That is. Yeah. I'm a fan of Van Gogh's Starry, Starry Night. And I caught, I was looking at the top left. I couldn't really make out the Stormtrooper's head until you just moved for a second. I was, oh, okay. I got it. That's a nice shirt. Very, very nice.
What's probably one of your favorite Star Wars trinkets or items that you own? Probably Eric is a fan.
Probably I have the classic Star Wars comics. So I have these two. I got them a while back, and these are the ones that they published in the daily
Dark Horse.
Right. Yeah. Those collect the dailies, right? The newspaper strips. Yeah.
So I believe they colored them for the comics, and these are the graphic novel versions. But yeah, just really old school stuff, but done really well. Stories written well, drawn well. This is by Archie Goodwin and Al Williamson.
Yep.
These are probably my favorites. So I'll read these periodically just to get that cool, good old fashioned Star Wars nostalgia going. So yeah, I have some comics signed by. Let's see here. I took them out, of course, so I can show them off. Got some Greg Horn autographed books. These are when Marvel took over. So I got these two.
Great covers too.
Yeah. So those are Greg Horn. Then this one is Mark Brooks, the Han Solo cover. So yeah. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of Star Wars stuff. That's probably the bulk of it, besides T-shirts and stuff. But being born in '82, I don't really recall going to the movies and seeing like the first, probably would have been the episode 2 or no 5 and 6. Yeah. I can't really remember. So kind of like Ken, but I do remember like episode 1, 2, and 3 for sure. Definitely not as good, but still fond memories, going to the movies. But yeah, So I'm really excited about just showing my kids, bringing them up into the universe and stuff. They get really excited about it every time we sit down and watch a movie.
Have
And,
you got them into the animated Clone Wars yet?
I have not.
Because the last episode
want
just
to.
dropped. So
Okay. Yeah, I want to, but they don't want to, so I don't want to like be a total geek and like, come on guys, let's go watch Star Wars Clone Wars. So
yeah, I mean, it's I got my son into it, and we've been watching it ever since it first came out, and we just watched the very last episode that'll ever be this morning at 8 a.m. and it was telling you, Dave Filoni, George Lucas, just geniuses. I mean, I'm it's everything that the prequels could have been, right? Is what they did with the animated Clone Wars. You will absolutely love it. I mean, it's the storytelling, the character arcs. It's one of my, next to the original movies, it's my next favorite Star Wars genre.
awesome.
Yeah, your kids will love it. I mean, once you get into it, I mean, my son and I, we just got hooked. He's like, Dad, next one. Let's watch another one. And they're 30-minute long, which is great. So they're not like hour long. So little bite-sized chunks for the kids. Their attention span's like the size of a bean. So
Right.
it grabs them for that 30 minutes, and then it's good. But then it keeps them going. So I highly recommend it, man.
I wish I could get my kids into that. I really feel like if they gave it a shot, it would be something they would be into. But you can drag the horse to the water, but that's about the best you could do.
Yep. Yeah, and Eric, you just had speaking of kids, you just had your fourth baby in March, right?
We did, yeah. Yep. March 27th. So she's a little over a month now and cute as can be. Totally, you get all like mushy and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Has the three older ones seen any Star Wars movies yet or anything yet? Or are you just going to wait?
Yeah, I think they've all seen pretty much all of them now. So they're all caught up. Gosh, I remember my firstborn, he was probably like 2 months old, and I sat down on the couch with him, just had him next to me and just watching Star Wars. Like, he didn't know, but it was just kind of a cool daddy moment for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is. As a parent too, I definitely remember taking my son to Force Awakens, and I teared up like a little kid, man. Sit next to me, Aiden, obviously, Rich, we got a great story of my son with Mark Hamill and all the old original cast, and he totally stole his show, didn't he? Right, Rich, with Mark and Carrie and all them.
That was you got such a great kid. You really do. And I remember saying to you, your kid has so much patience. My kid wouldn't have lasted 10 minutes, let alone 10 hours, waiting for Carrie Fisher to come on. Let's go. Let's get this shit done. Yep. That was a great weekend.
Yeah, Eric, Aiden was he was 6 then, and he just sat in the corner of all these like private areas that we were at doing all this private signings with the whole original cast, and Mark and Carrie and Kenny and everybody was just so nice. They're like, man, your kid is he's so good. He's just sitting there like I had him on his phone. He got hardcore into Minecraft, so he was just watching Minecraft videos and playing Minecraft. I remember we had to leave. Rich and I had to leave, and we were with Carrie Fisher, and it's such a memorable moment for me as a geek, Star Wars fan, to come full circle for me to where Carrie's like, well, I'll watch your kid. I'll watch Aiden. Just leave him here. He's okay. I'm like, really? She's like, oh yeah, go ahead and go. He'll be fine. I'll keep an eye on him. I'm like, I go, dude. In my mind going, Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia is babysitting my son, right? Like how? And then the best part was we got back. Peter Mayhew just had foot surgery, and he was being pushed. God rest his soul, rest in peace, Peter. But he was needed. He was in a wheelchair, and he was trying to wheel himself to the bathroom. And I said, Mr. Mayhew, you needed some help. He's like, yeah, can you help me? And so we pushed Peter to the bathroom, and we helped him up into the bathroom. And I told my son, said, only you could tell everybody that you helped Chewbacca go to the bathroom, right? Yeah, but like Mark loved him. I mean, it was a great. But yeah, I remember fast forward though, sitting down with my son in the theater for Force Awakens, looking over at him, going, "Man, what a memorable moment!" Right? So
sure.
And
go ahead. Sorry,
no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I did convince my youngest Charlotte to sit and watch the original trilogy with me. Madeline never gave it a lick, but the one thing I do remember Charlotte commenting on was when the pieces finally started to come together in her head as she'd watch, because we watched all 3 movies over the course of 2-3 days. And when it finally comes together in her mind that Luke and Leia are brother and sister, she instantly flashes back to, wait a minute, so she kissed her brother? You know?
That's
You
funny.
know,
I
she
don't
was all
have-
of like 9 at the time.
I don't have any kids to share Star Wars memories with, but my best Star Wars memory, besides going to Celebration with Rich a few years ago. Remember we went to Celebration and it was like a ton of
course.
fun.
Yeah.
So when I was in high school, I went to go see Episode 3, and I was on a date. And Episode 3, I'm sure we all can agree, was not very good. And the guy I was seeing broke up with me after the movie ended. So it's my only Star Wars memory.
He broke up with you after?
After the movie.
Oh God. Well, at least he
Well,
waited till the end.
We're
Jeez.
gonna fix that, Lauren.
Dick.
We are gonna fix. The news just dropped today that Taika Waititi is gonna
He's
direct the
directing
next
a new
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars.
I saw that. I saw
Yeah.
that. That's
Finally,
fantastic.
thank you, Lord, a director that knows what he's doing. I love it.
I
Yep.
liked his I think he's a good director. I did not like the first 2 Thor movies, and then his Thor movie came out and I was like, oh my God, where was this? Where
As
was
Guardians of
it?
the Galaxy, it was just I mean, that was James Gunn, but yeah, he's
Yeah.
just. Then Jojo Rabbit, great
Oh,
friggin'
Jojo
flick.
Rabbit's fantastic.
Yeah. So we're gonna fix that, Lauren. We're gonna make you have a memorable experience with the next Star Wars movie that comes out. So
I mean, I saw the last one by myself. I took myself to see it, and I enjoyed it. But yeah,
we
I was
won't.
a Star Trek fan.
And nothing wrong with that. I remember funny Star Wars Star Trek. It was at Phoenix Comic Con, Eric. I don't know if you were there when Leonard Nimoy was there before he passed away. It was like a year before he passed away. My son was Aiden was about, I don't know, I think maybe 2 years old, maybe a year and a half, and I had him in a retro Star Wars T-shirt. And Leonard Nimoy showed up, and I had a photo op to go meet Leonard Nimoy, and so I brought him in. I said, "Oh my God, Mr. Nimoy, I'm so sorry." He's like, "For what? What's wrong?" I said, "I forgot to change a shirt out. I brought a retro Star Trek shirt." And he goes, "It's okay. I actually like Star Wars better than Star Trek, but don't tell Bill." I'll never forget that. And then we got a great photo of my son and I with Mr. Nimoy wearing his Star Wars retro shirt. But I was like, so no, I do like Star Trek too. We should definitely do an episode of Star Trek stuff, Lauren.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah. But Star Wars though today though, so there's future hope for you, Eric, with your kids, with all the new movies coming out. And I've heard the rumor is Old Republic going back a couple thousand years, which I've got great, the Knights of the Old Republic video game is still my all-time favorite video game. The books, the comics, I mean, Tales of the Jedi, Dark Horse back in the day.
Now,
So,
I'm not a gamer so much. I'm a literal virgin gamer. In the
you
sense
are
that
a gamer now.
I
Don't
am a
try to
gamer
play
now.
this off. Come on, Mr.
so-
VR Oculus guy.
Atari
Right.
2600 is my game of choice. However, I just bought the Oculus VR, and my buddies have been pimping very hard the Vader Immortal
Yep.
on this thing. And I've played it for about 10 minutes. I know it's a serialized video game. There's 3 chapters. God only knows how long it takes to get through each one of these, but it is a crazy experience if you've never tried this thing. It's all immersive, 360 degree, and it is about as realistic as it gets. I mean, the video, the pixelation is, like maybe a couple generations away from being like spot on, but it is cool as shit.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet. I've got the Oculus Rift, but I haven't tried it. My girlfriend and I were at Celebrations when they had the Vader Immortal booth set up, but we didn't have a chance to go do that.
Call me on
Eric, have you tried any of the Star Wars games or played any of the old school games before, like TIE Fighter, X-Wing, any of those old ones?
Gosh, I don't even remember the name of it, but I played one. I want to say it was probably for like Nintendo 64. It would have been like right around the time like the 007 game came out, where you can like.
Was it the Pod Race one?
No, I don't think it was. I remember because you
Rebel
were.
Assault?
Possibly, because you were a character and you're kind of going through. I remember like being in the like the Death Star, trying to find the things to shut down the ray. You know, but just very like, you know, different worlds going around. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, that was probably the only one I did play. Because my stepbrother had a game console, but I didn't because I was like the youngest. So
Yeah.
I'm always playing his games, playing, you know, on his console. So unfortunately, you know, I didn't get a whole lot of game stuff going, and I don't own one right now because I know if I did, I would not get any work done. So I try and focus on my work, out my art.
Man, better man than me, man. I tell you, it's because yeah, if you when you get a break, and it's good therapy, right? It's good to have balance. I'm trying to sell you on this, right? Not to
Right.
take away, because I know you got to earn money for the fan, but if you get a chance, Jedi Fallen Order, play that game for sure on the PC or PlayStation. Absolutely, the story, and they did all the I forget what they call it. It's the same technology they did with Andy Serkis with Planet of the Apes and Lord of the Rings with Gollum. What's that?
Motion capture.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so they did that with these guys in Jedi Fallen Order. Amazing story, great graphics, the motion capture with the actors, the voices. So when you get a break after you release the new Shadow Century series, treat yourself and go play that game. I think you'll definitely like it. Updates, Eric, on Shadow Century and where you know what's next for that with you guys as we kind of branch away from Star Wars for a second and help you out with your next product line you're working on.
Cool, man. Yeah, so I'm on page 18 right now. Well, actually, no, I finished 18, so I'm working on 19. I'm kind of taking it step by step. I'm writing it. I'm penciling, inking it. I have some colorists who are going to color for me. So shopping out that and the lettering. But yeah, so it's going to keep me busy for the next, you know, 2 to 3 months, and just going to chug hard on that. I have one big commission coming up that a guy wanted to do like a Stan Lee in a cigar lounge with like surrounded by the Avengers and then the couple who's commissioning me. They want to have themselves in there. So I'm going to squeeze that one in there because they're going to pay me good for it. But beyond that, yeah, just working on the Shadow Century. It is in demand right now, so people can pick that up. And it's going to be an ongoing series. So I want to, you know, just do it as long as I can. It's got some great characters that I want to work with for, you know, just keep going with it like the X-Men, you know, just make it cool book that people can get into, you know, just keep going with it. So.
Nice. What's the roadmap for the next several months? Are you trying to have the first couple issues out? I mean, what's that look like for folks out there if they want to get like an update and where they can get updates for you?
Gotcha. Yeah. So it'll be the book will come out around August. That's when it's fulfillment time. So people, if they're not familiar with crowdfunding, basically it enables you to raise the funds beforehand and kind of let you, you know, do all the work afterwards. So I raise the money now. It'll support me and give me the income I need during the next 4 months or whatever to do the book. So book one will come out around August, maybe sooner. And then after that, I'll do another campaign for book 2. And again, kind of the same format, raise the funds, do the work, and then, you know, just keep going with it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm on the Indiegogo site now and about ready to hit purchase of the Hellborn special. Looks like there's one claim, so I'm gonna be the second one.
Thanks, man.
So
Awesome.
I gotta pick which if you had to recommend, knowing me right now, variant cover, which one do you recommend, the A, B, or C? What do you think?
Man, they're all really good. There is the villains variant, which is really cool, done by Kevin Sharp. So that's got, hold on, I'll show you.
Yeah, let's see that. Let's see all the different variants.
So well, this one is, I have the original artwork here with me. So this is some of the villains. This is Vengeant, and then Hopscotch, and then Bloodbane. So this one came out really good. They're all really awesome, but Kevin Sharp.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's really freaking impressive.
Yeah. So this one is cool. Mike Miller did one, came out great, and then another guy, Matthew Weldon, really unique style he has. All the colors are done by Carbon Graphics, so they all kind of have a nice palette, very bright, nice colors.
Oh yeah, is that number C? Which variant cover is that?
This is gonna be B.
B, Bravo. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then Kevin has a book he's doing called The Dragon Guard. So kind
Man, look
of,
at that detail, man. You guys, I tell you,
yeah.
unbelievable.
So
Now, how long does it take you guys to finish one of those? Like, is that hours or is that weeks and months of work?
it's days probably.
Days?
Yeah. Because you're sketching, you're kind of finding out a good composition, good layout. So that'll take, could be a day. Then you blow it up, and then you're inking it, refining it. So for me, page-wise, it's taking about three days per page for me.
Nice. That's awesome. And do you have the other 2 variant covers there with you to show everybody?
I don't, unfortunately. He sent me the original art, so I do have that one on hand. But the other 2, you'll have to check out on the website.
Nice.
It's all there in the info for you.
Oh yeah, you got right here, man. I tell you, this is dude, I'm really. I was like, do the variant cover B, but man, I'm really digging the variant cover A. I'm loving like the almost like lightsaber type sword. That's
Yes.
pretty badass.
Cool, man. Yeah, go with that one. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, and the story sounds awesome too. I love the idea about the folks near death and they come back with some, bending physics type of mutation type superpowers. Is that your idea? Or was that someone else's idea you came up with, or?
Yeah, that was my idea. I was, because I didn't want to do the whole like mutant thing. It's been done. So
Yep.
I'm like, how can I bring in like supernatural powers? And so I thought, hey, they go to beyond the veil, into the eternal, and in that realm there are no rules. There's angels and etc. And
Yep.
you can never, break the rules. So they could bring that back into our realm, and then there you have it. You got supernatural powers. You can, paranormal abilities and do all kinds of crazy cool stuff.
That's awesome. And then is the entire storyline kind of yours, or are you working with other people on different character arcs, or what's that look like that whole creative process?
Yeah, so for the first probably 2 story arcs, that'll just be all me, creating the world, delving into the characters. And then eventually I'd like to bring on, some writers who have more, more experience and kind of run with it. And I could just focus on the penciling and inking, so that way it won't take as much time as well. And but I definitely wanted to do the first few, so that way I can kind of build the world, kind of get all the characters established. And that's fun for me. I like that creative process, creating the characters, designing them, things like that. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll pimp out Lauren. She's got some writing experience, right, Lauren? So
Yeah, I wrote, I've been in the Mind comic anthology. So I went to school for writing. That was my thing.
Nice.
I'm thinking of going to get a master's degree in writing one day, but not yet. But I've been in a few books, have written for a few websites, some which are not really that popular with fans, but oh well.
hey, work, right?
Yeah, it paid the bills, so whatever.
That's right. That's
So
right.
yeah, if you ever need a writer, let me know.
All right.
I'm now suddenly available due to the worldwide pandemic.
Isn't it amazing what COVID-19 can do? It can bring people together, span careers, force people to pull their cash out of their pocket for stuff they didn't need.
I know.
You know.
It's so amazing.
That government cheese, not going to pay rent, not going to pay bills, just buying stuff we don't need, like, Star Wars mugs, posters, prints.
So, speaking of Star
I
Wars,
just got you fired up.
I feel for Chris because he had to deal with the Shop Disney website just like shitting the bed today for the Star Wars mugs.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that for sure. Thanks. I was actually just finishing my therapy session before we joined here because of that. But you go ahead, Lauren. Bring me back full circle.
I just open those wounds right up for you, buddy. So, as someone who is I'm a very big Disney park fan. I love going. I go all the time. I've been in the park when they've dropped a new Funko Pop. So, like when the Splash Mountain Funko dropped, there was a guy who bought like 20 in one sitting. So I understand. Yeah, people are nuts. So I understand that specific rage feel that you have when you had those mugs sitting in your cart and you went to go hit checkout and they're like, sorry, pal, they're gone. I 100% know how you feel. I've been there. It's terrible.
Yeah,
Well,
what
like San Diego Comic-Con tickets. they're in your bucket, and then they're not.
Well, that's
It-
why
it-
you just get a
Ugh.
press pass.
Yeah, Eric, I was telling Lauren before you guys joined that my girlfriend and I, we're big time, Star Wars geeks, nerds, Disney fanatics, and that was one of my criteria when I was looking to date someone someday. I was like, I've got a checklist. I'm gonna date someone that's a geek like me, likes the same themes, all that stuff. And she passed the test. She's awesome. And this morning we got up and it's like around 6:30, and she's like, all right, let's get on all the devices for Disney. It's almost like before I met Rich. Thankfully hooking me up always with our booth at San Diego Comic-Con now is we'd get up with like 9 devices, get ready to get on San Diego Comic-Con, right, and get the tickets. Well, this morning we had like all the devices going, trying to get on Disney, shop Disney at 7 a.m. when they're going to drop all this exclusive stuff, and so we get 7 a.m. and at 7:01 we get logged in, we get all of our crap, we get these Starbucks like limited edition coffee mugs. We're big coffee drinkers, and we get them all added. I get the Black Series from Hasbro, the new action figures, get them all added, and we go to check out. I literally have like my last digit of my verification at the back of my Chase Sapphire card, and I'm like getting ready to hit buy it now, and the whole site crashes. And we go back in there, and like next thing you know, like one of the mugs is sold out, but you don't find out until after you try to buy again and check out, and it doesn't tell you which mug is sold out. It just tells you, hey, something in your shopping cart is sold out. So you got to figure it out like Sherlock Holmes, which item is sold out. And then after doing that, while I'm trying to work and join meetings during my day job, by 11 o'clock, I finally just gave up. So fought that for 3 to 4 hours. I gave up. And then literally as we were talking just now, lo and behold, that's why she's awesome. She just sent me a text. She said, got them. They were sold out all morning, all
Stacy got 'em.
afternoon. She got all the mugs, all 3 mugs.
Wow.
They somehow replenished the stock on Disney's site.
Nice.
But
Wow, that's great.
To Lauren's point though, like I was like, I'm tweeting like I'm like angry tweeting. I'm like,
I
Disney.
saw your tweet. I was like, well, like a bunch of my other Disney park friends were on Twitter today. They're like, how dare, like you guys obviously have never been through any convention experience. Like I'm sure we all know, trying to get a convention exclusive. It's just San Diego, for example.
Yeah, forget about it. Hey,
Yeah.
we have
Not easy.
Yeah, exactly.
we have a special guest. If I may interrupt, we have a special surprise guest joining us. This is my friend Katie Leigh. Katie, how are you?
Hi. Happy
Hi.
Hello.
4th.
May the 4th be with you, Katie.
Oh, I have to say be with you. Thank you. And also with you.
There you go. So for those of you who don't know, my friend Katie is a voice
Can you
actress.
hear me okay?
Yes. Yes, you're talking from your cell, am I right?
Yes. Am I supposed to be wearing headphones?
No, you're fine. You're fine, Katie. You're fine.
You know,
Where-
this
where you
technology
now?
works.
All right, great.
Everybody, Katie, gets a pass because of this wonderful, whatever virus label you want to call it. So we know technology is all screwing everybody up. And so, but yeah, your video's coming a little choppy, slow, but we're starting to hear you pick up a little bit. So
That's
very-
yep. You look great, Katie. How are you?
Thank you. I just had a 5-hour session in my booth. So I had earphones on for 5 hours. So.
Oh my God. What were you recording this evening?
Adventures in Odyssey. It's
Okay.
a radio show that I've been working on for 32 years, and this is the first time we've done it remotely.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
affecting everybody. But as I understand it, I mean, you're in California, right, Katie?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are doing pretty well, flattening the curve, as I understand.
Well, I've always been flat, so I think I've done my part.
So my friend Katie is a voice actress. She's been the voices of many animated characters. Most notably, she was in Muppet Babies. She was a litany of pieces. But I happened to catch that Katie also was a voice in a Star Wars animated piece. And you were young Han, right?
Yep, I was Han Solo in the Padawan Menace. So I got to channel my inner Harrison Ford as a
That's
boy.
awesome.
Yeah, yep. So I have a bad feeling about this. Yeah.
Oh.
So I gotta ask, who did you play in Muppet Babies?
Oh, well, guess.
My earphones aren't exactly great, so I can't.
Okay, I did the voice of Rolf, baby Rolf, the dog. He played the piano.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm a big Muppet Babies fan. So.
As am
that's
I.
Great. Well, far out. That's totally cool. Yay.
Yep.
I'm
That's
trying to
awesome.
hold my phone up so you get that above shot of my face. If my arm falls asleep and I fall over, you'll know why. I need that holder for the phone. It's in the booth. Anyway, who am I talking
Selfie
to?
stick.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry, Katie. Let me introduce you.
Yeah,
So,
rude, Rich. You're so
I am
rude.
so sorry.
Jeez.
If I was there, Rich would just not be
Good.
talking. I would just be like, I got this, buddy.
Yes, I am so sorry. So Katie, our podcast is called Barzinga, where we like to talk about what we're drinking and what we're reading or watching or listening to. So our host, my friend Chris Rohn.
Hello,
Chris.
it's me.
Chris is up in Arizona. Our other host, Baltimore Lauren Sisselman. She's based here in Baltimore with me. And one of our guests tonight, Eric. Eric is an artist who has done some various different comic book related pieces, Star Wars and whatnot. And earlier this evening, we had another guest, Ken Meyer Jr., who's done a lot of pieces. And I thought it would be a lot of fun if, I know last minute, but if we could get you to pop in, that would be pretty exciting.
I don't know if any of your viewers saw the Padawan Menace. It was a Lego Star Wars special.
2011.
It's pretty funny. What? You saw it?
2011. Absolutely, I saw that. I'm a huge.
It was pretty funny, huh?
It's awesome. I love it. Yeah, well, I'm a huge Lego nerd to begin with. You guys can't see me. I got about I got about 400 unopened Star Wars Lego sets.
When Chris dies, they're going to bury him in a Lego coffin.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Okay.
Yeah, my son and I love the Lego Star Wars games and series.
Now, should I be like this? Should I be like? I just got a phone holder here, so my husband was kind enough to set me up, so I don't have to.
Yeah. No, you look great. There you go.
Hey, as long as you're not going to the as long as you're not going to the bathroom live like what the lady did in Zoom, don't do that. Yeah, you're good. The bar's been set pretty low, so you're good.
Yeah.
I won't do that. We're having some Chinese food too, so we're kind of joining. We're not drinking yet because there's still some. Yeah, so I was so surprised because when I got that part, I didn't even audition for it. There were some people who had. I'll tell you the backstory. I had worked on a animated series for PBS called Animalia that was produced by an animation company in Australia. And we had a lot of fun. It was great. And then one day I get a note from my agent says, this person you have this job. And I'm like, wow, okay. I don't know who it is. And they just picked me. But when I got the script, they said, you're going to be playing, what was his name? Ian. I'm like, okay, I'm Ian. So I'm reading the script, and I was like, wait a minute, this is Han Solo. So that was a big surprise to me and a delight. And I got to ask Yoda if he was wearing any underwear under there.
Tom Kane too, one of my favorite male voice actors who plays Yoda and narrates and all that. That's awesome because Tom was on that series with you, right?
Well, it was just one episode, so I'm not sure. We didn't all go in and record together. I was by myself, so I'd have to check the credits and see who played who. But I know Rob Paulson played a role, and
Yep, Commander Cody.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of good. I mean, if you IMDb it, my brain's kind of fried. That's
No,
your job,
I got it up
guys.
right. I got you. I got it right here. Anthony
Who
Daniels,
played
C-3PO.
Yoda? Was it Tom?
It was Tom Kane. Yep, Tom
I
Kane.
thought so. Yeah, but I didn't want to.
Phil
go out on a
Lamar
limb
was
and-
Darth Vader and Bell Organa and Jar Jar and Yep.
Mhm.
yep. R. Martin
It was
Klein.
a great cast, but I didn't even know who was in it till after I watched it and saw the credits because we don't always see each other.
Yeah,
So
I was
Eric-
going to ask you.
so
So
Eric-
when you guys record, you're never really in the same room. They record each person separately, right? And then they just kind of splice it all together.
It just depends on the project.
Yeah.
It depends. Like this show that we did remotely, we always record together. But we got
Mhm.
4 people on IPDTL at the same time just now to do. So that was pretty cool. We got 4 actors together. But yeah, we usually record that show together. Most cartoons, depending on the studio, we record together. Disney likes to do people separately. I'm not sure why the Padawan, maybe Cartoon Network. Although I've done stuff at Cartoon Network where we were all together. It just depends.
Right, right.
So Eric here has got 4 young children now. He's got a new baby in March. So Eric, you definitely got to show your kids the Lego Star Wars, and especially the Padawan Menace that Katie's talking about. Great series. Kids are gonna love it. Your kids are gonna love it. It's just it's a fun cast story, all that stuff. So that's
Yeah, they have a lot of good Lego Star Wars stuff, even for all the different franchises. But my kids are really enjoying it. They've seen a few of them. My son was just telling me about something funny he heard on one of them. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, they're really digging it. So.
Well, good. All right. Well, that's about my small part in the Star Wars canon, if it's even considered canon. But yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Katie, give us a line for the audience of Han Solo.
Let's see. Well, let's see. I gave you one. But my name's not Ian. It's Han. Han Solo.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, I love it.
Oh,
That is
fantastic.
awesome.
Katie,
Yeah.
thank you.
I have a
Thank
question.
you so much. Oh,
Carry
Eric's got a
on.
question.
What? A question?
I had a question for you. Yeah, because you said you do Adventures in Odyssey, your
Yes.
voice sounds kind of familiar. Like I heard you doing something else. But did you do I forget the name of them, but it was like a Charlton Heston biblical stories. Did you do the narration, like the little kid narrating those stories by chance?
I don't think so, but I think you're talking about the Hanna-Barbera cartoons, maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
And I don't think so. No, I didn't. No.
Because there
But
was like
I know what you're talking about.
there was a young kid and he was kind of doing like the intros and the narration at some points, and his voice kind of sounds like yours a little bit. So just figured I'd ask just in case.
I don't know. Look it up. Tell me what the name is. I'll see. But I don't think. I think like World's Greatest Adventures or something like that. Is that what they were called? Or
Possibly.
I know Hanna-Barbera did some, and I had some for my kids. So
You
I
did
could be-
did the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom video game. I played that back in the 80s.
No, I didn't do the video game. I did the Maharaja's voice in the movie, Temple of Doom.
Oh my! Oh wow! That's
Hmm.
amazing. And you did
Yeah,
Alvin
I
and the
did
Chipmunks and
voice.
Dungeons and Dragons and
Yeah,
Dumbo
Dungeons and
Circus.
Dragons is my favorite. I am a hardcore Dungeons and Dragons fan from that. That was one of my favorite cartoons in the 80s.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you've obviously got an impressive career and resume here of just looks like just dozens and even hundreds of potential characters. Out of all of that amazing timeline and all these careers of experience, who's your favorite? Like, what if you had like a favorite wine to drink on a tough day? What's your favorite voice? Do you want to your rendition of your favorite voice to help you through a tough day? Who would your counseling session be with?
Oh my goodness. Well, I really love playing Connie Kendall from Adventures in Odyssey because it's basically my own voice and I don't have to do anything. So that's pretty effortless. But one of my biggest thrill in my life is having gotten to work with Jim Henson on the Muppet Babies. That's pretty awesome.
That's nice. That's fantastic. That's got to be a fantastic memory for sure.
Yeah, it was amazing. So yeah, I'm thankful. I've done a lot of things, and there's always new voices coming up that I think I surprised myself. So I play a character on a Netflix show called Legend Quest. I don't know if anybody watches it or not, but season 2, I play a character named Brother Grace, and she's very loud and deep and talks like this. So it's kind of fun.
Legend, that's great. Legend Grace?
Legend Quest.
Legend Quest. All right, we're going to look that up.
Yeah, definitely.
And then just the opposite of that, last year I finished a show called Rainbow Butterfly Unicorn Kitty on Nickelodeon, which I'm sure you're not familiar with either. But that's one of my favorite characters because that's the quietest character I've ever voiced.
Oh.
And she talks very, very, very quietly like this. And even when she screams, she sounds like, eh.
What show is on Nickelodeon?
Rainbow Butterfly Unicorn Kitty.
Oh, that is awesome. So Katie, obviously I'm just blown away. This is a great surprise for everybody. So where do you get the inspiration for some of these voices? Do you practice? Do you write? Do you record yourself? Do you play some back? Or does it just naturally come to you? What's the process like?
Well, you get your script. Hopefully you have a picture to look at to sort of inspire you. And then they'll have a character description. And that's it, then it's just your imagination trying to try to incorporate their personality, the way their bodies look, and, and then, you send that in. Sometimes characters are made up on the fly when you're already in the studio. So the director will kind of figure out how they want somebody to sound. Yeah, I'm a little bit crazy, I guess.
So speaking of Star Wars, obviously the Star Wars Day, right? The May the 4th with you. So any favorite Star Wars stories other than the amazing Lego experience we just got from you? Any other favorite movies, characters? You remember when Star Wars came out? I'm sure you're probably like 9, maybe 5.
I do remember. If I tell you my true, honest experience with Star Wars, you probably won't be happy.
Let's hear it.
Uh-oh.
This is a safe zone, Katie.
Yeah.
Safe place.
Well, I'm kind of a I love entertainment. I love funny things. I love but I'm kind of a stickler for details and to see if it feels believable, I guess, to me. So I remember in high school, my boyfriend at the time saw Star Wars and he went bananas. And I saw it and I was like, I don't get it. It's kind of stupid. And he said, you have to, it's not real. It's like a fairy tale. I'm like, all right.
So needless to say, then Phantom Menace is your favorite Star Wars movie then?
Yes, it is. It's my favorite one so far. Yes.
Right.
Anything I get paid on, my favorite. Yeah.
Right. Right on.
But yeah, but you know what? I did actually got to play Mark Hamill's wife in a Oh Yeah cartoon on Nickelodeon. So I've worked with Mark. I've seen him. And
that's awesome.
I'm a huge fan of Mark's.
Such an amazing guy, I tell you. Just he's super cool. He's a fan's fan for sure.
Super talented. See, here's my husband's here eating dinner with.
Oh,
hey,
that's Vinny.
how's it going?
Yeah.
Vinny.
So you heard extra chewing going on. That was me.
Yeah.
Hey,
That
it's all good, my
boy.
friend.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, hey, Katie, we'll let you get back to your dinner. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it was very last minute. You look fantastic.
Well, how
Thank
of you
you.
to think of me. That's awesome. You guys can carry on. Have a great podcast. I'll drink later. Okay?
Please do. Please do.
Okay.
Katie, stay safe, Katie. So wonderful
You
seeing
too.
you. You
Yep.
take care.
Bye,
Vinny,
Rick.
nice meeting you, Vinny. Bye,
All right,
Katie. Thanks
take
again.
care. All right,
Bye-bye.
you too.
Bye.
Bye.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you. That's awesome.
Oh,
Well done, Rich. That was a nice surprise. That's pretty cool.
well, listen, real quick before you go, Lauren, your earliest Star Wars memory, go.
Ooh, writing Star Tours.
Mm.
That's also a fun memory. Star Tours
Sure.
is so much fun.
Yep. What about you, Eric? What's a fond Star Wars memory from back in the day? We'll plug your site and we'll wrap this thing up for everybody.
Man, it's rough. Definitely was a highlight, taking my then girlfriend, now wife, to see, I don't remember if it was episode 2 or 3, our first date, going to the
Yeah.
IMAX. It was fun for me, but for her, she still gives me a hard time about it. But hey, she should have known then what she was getting into, right?
So you're telling me she doesn't dress up like Princess Slave Leia, like in that Friends episode, like Jennifer Aniston? She's not going to do that for you?
No. Maybe if I really,
If you really pushed it?
But actually, speaking of Peter Mayhew, I remember it was in Albuquerque Comic-Con, and he was like right down from me at my booth, and he was like, on the little thing getting pushed, and he had the cast on his foot, and so I don't remember what year that was, but I remember seeing him, and I kind of got to meet him a little bit, but he was in such a bad mood for whatever reason, like maybe where they put him in the con, but I just remember him being like really like pissed
Irritable.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was cool. I got to meet him. So I think of all the Star Wars cast, that's probably the one guy I've got to kind of like, see and kind of meet a little bit. So that was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Chris, what about you?
Oh man, so many. Probably the best always is, I'm looking at the photo right now of Aiden and I with Carrie and Mark is going to definitely be the time when I showed up to Anaheim and my son's watching Return of the Jedi for the first time. He's finished the first 2 movies before we left. So we're driving from Arizona to Anaheim. It's about a 6-hour drive, and he's watching, rewatching the Empire and then Return for the first time. And we literally pulled in to the Anaheim Convention Center. We didn't even get checked in the hotel rooms. I remember Rich is like blowing my phone up, like, dude, you got to come like right here, like right now, like do the hotel later, like just come here now. I'll get you the badge. We got to walk in. We got work to do. I remember my son, we just finished Return in that scene where Ian McDermott is Emperor Palpatine's like shocking Luke with the lightning. And then no kidding, 30 minutes to the minute later, we're walking into the very first backstage VIP area, signing area with Ian. And I'm like, Aiden, he's like barely up to my knees, and I'm like, that's Emperor Palpatine. And Ian goes, and it's just me, Ian, and Aiden. And Ian goes, like does the Emperor look. And Aiden like hides behind my back and my legs. And Ian's so nice, such a lovely man. Came over, he's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding, son. Come here," and he gave him a big hug. And so getting that experience, and that kicked off the whole amazing weekend. So for me, as growing up, this is what got me into technology and science fiction, astronomy. Was all Star Wars, and then be able to meet like all of my childhood heroes all in one weekend with my son.
Yeah.
Right. And good friends like Rich and Tori and Joe and everybody else out there that we were friends with, but mainly just my son and I meet all of those casts in one weekend. And Rich and I talk about this all the time. There'll never, ever be another experience like that ever again. Like we look at Kenny Baker, Anthony Daniels, Peter Mayhew, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Ian McDermott, Daniel Logan, Ray Park, just everybody. I mean, it was like the whole cast of them.
That was a fantastic weekend. I mean, that if I dwell on it too much, my estrogen will fucking kick in. But that was probably that was. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better weekend, and it was nice to have a change of pace where there was no. I mean, I'm used to the comic book convention scene, and it was nice to do something different and really genuinely enjoyable, and to be around all these celebrities, and they were genuinely so pleasant, and they're people too, and they happy to interact with you. It was that. I agree with you, Chris. That was probably my favorite Star Wars experience. I don't think you can top that. My earliest Star Wars experience, when I saw Star Wars, the original movie, I didn't see it in '77 when it first was released. I mean, but I do remember And one of the things I used to do when I was a kid, I used to love to go into the Sunday paper and look at the different clippings for the advertisements, the posters of all the ads for all the movies that were being released. That was my thing. And I used to sometimes clip the newspaper clippings and put them in a scrapbook. I thought I was the only weird person that did that, but I've met other people over the years that did similar things. But what I do remember was that Star Wars continued to play over the course of the year. And then it was a year and a half. And I remember my mother had wanted to see Star Wars because, and I didn't know this, she enjoyed science fiction, but it wasn't until Star Wars was re-released in '79 that we got to see it. And I remember we went to the Wellsville Twin Cinema, or no, it wasn't a Twin Cinema yet. It was just a single old school big screen theater. And there was a line outside and the lobby was packed. And we were there to see the second viewing of the evening, which was probably like a 9 o'clock movie. And we're waiting for the first screening to end. And we're standing in the lobby. And I remember opening up the double doors to kind of peek my head in to see what was going on. And my first visual of Star Wars was Luke, everybody going down on the TIE fighter, on the Death Star.
Yep.
That was my first visual of Star Wars, was seeing them attack the Death Star. And I watched that for 30 seconds before I popped my head back out again. That was my earliest. And then a year later, I got to see Empire Strikes Back. I didn't have that gap,
Mm-hmm. My earliest would be in Return of the Jedi, basement, Wyoming ranch, family, big giant box TV that's built into looks like a kitchen cabinetry kind of. Remember
Looks
those
like
old
my back
school
wall.
TVs?
The paneling.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Paneling.
Yeah.
Had the clicker remote where the clicker made it was like 4 channels. I remember they had the VCR hooked up to it, watching Return of the Jedi. That was my first screening of Star Wars. My earliest memory as a kid was watching Return of the Jedi on that. And I was like, what? And I'm so mad at my family still because they showed me Return of the Jedi first. Saw it backwards. I'm like, God.
Yeah.
But it got me hooked though after that. I mean, that was my earliest.
Sure.
I had 2 older brothers that obviously went to the theater in '77 and then with Empire 2 years later. But yeah, that would be my earliest memory though, was and that's what got me hooked. So
I will say this, and not to brag, but I know a lot of Star Wars fans are super into the original cut before everything was
sure, of
remade.
course.
So I have episodes 4, 5, 6 on Laserdisc before they were redone or whatever.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen them as they should have been seen before George Lucas fucked with everything. So I mean. That's and I also have I don't have a lot of Star Wars stuff, but I have a toy of C-3PO where it's the original design of C-3PO, which is based on the machine woman from Metropolis.
Yep.
So Metropolis is my favorite movie. So
Metropolis is awesome too. Totally agree.
Oh
with
my
you.
God!
Yeah, visually, it's so visually striking. It's a fantastic.
Oh my God, yeah.
movie.
The book is terrible, but the movie.
Well,
is
that's
good.
where they got the inspiration from, like you said. That's how they got.
Yep.
That's how Ralph McQuarrie and those guys got the inspiration, was from Metropolis. So.
Well, the scrolling text is from Flash Gordon.
Yep.
Flash Gordon serials.
Yep.
So, and Buck Rogers influenced it too. And tons of things influence Star Wars. I
Sure.
like the stuff that influenced Star Wars too. So.
Yep.
But yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this has been absolutely awesome. Eric, Lauren, Rich. I mean, so Eric, before we sign off, let's let everybody know where they can find you out there on the social media web introverse the kids are using today.
Yep.
MySpace.com, right, Eric?
Is that still even around? I don't know.
Just you and Tom. Last week was me and Tom. Now it's just you and Tom. I moved out. So it's just you and Tom now, buddy. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, the easiest way for people to find me is to just go to my website, ericninaltowskiart.com. You'll find all my links there for commissions, gallery on DeviantArt, and then you'll see my my little blurb about the Shadow Century book, and then I'll take you right there. But yeah, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All my links are on that, so that'll be the easiest way for people to find me.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Right.
Lauren?
We'll post all that then for you. So, Lauren, where can everybody find you out there on the interweb?
Well, currently Friendster.com. No, I'm just kidding. So you can find
I
me.
forgot about that.
Twitter, Baltimore Lauren, and Instagram, Lauren from Baltimore.
Roan.
Right on. All right, so mine's pretty easy. Ronery, Roanry, like from Team America. I'm so Ronery. So pretty straightforward. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, just my full name, Chris Roan. But I'll post all the links for everybody here, so you don't have to try to remember it. Rich, what about you?
Mine's really easy to remember. Carroll County Jail. I will.
Prison ID number 11.
OU812.
That's
Oh,
right.
do you share a cell with Joe Exotic?
Twice a week. They usually have him out back with the cats. So whenever he goes to exercise, I get the 9x9 to myself. I'm very
Well,
excited
you'll
about that.
probably run into Nick Cage because he just got announced to play Joe Exotic in the new movie. So
Did he really?
yep. Nick Cage is officially Joe
Yep.
Exotic.
Oh my!
I think he'll be a great Joe Exotic because he's like that level of weird.
Yeah,
That he can do it.
And who's that bitch Carol Baskin?
I
We
don't
don't
know
know
yet. We don't know yet.
Oh my gosh!
I hope it's
All
Wendy
right.
from Ozark.
Laura Linney. How cool would that be?
Yeah, but
And,
so where can folks find you, Rich?
Twitter, which I barely ever use, RichN1, but Instagram, also RichN1, and Facebook, RichN Comics. And other than that, if you really want to find me, I'm at the local pub because no one's there except me. Thank you, social distancing. So, and as I like to say, I am so out of beer, which means I'm out of time. So I guess we're out.
Yep, absolutely. So Eric, awesome, my friend. Thanks for joining. Hope you had a good time. Hope this was worth it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for joining us.
Yep, absolutely. And Baltimore Lauren, obviously Rich, everybody out there, freaks and geeks, all the nerds, happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you.
May the
always
4th be with you.
That's right. And with that, we'll sign off. See you later, everybody. Have a great rest of your
guys.
week.
Good night,
Stay safe
Chris.
out there.
Good night, BL.
everybody.
Eric, thank you
Bye,
again.
guys.
Yep.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.